Hi there, my name is Jen, and I am happy to be up on the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel today creating a few cards using some beautiful sets from Pinkfresh Studios. The first set that I'm going to be using is called Rainbow Floral, and this is a stamp and die set. There is also a stencil that coordinates with this as well, but I will be just using the stamp and the die set. And the unique thing about these stamps is that they are all on one sheet with the exception of the sentiments. So you have the entire piece that you can stamp and die cut out. However, the Misty that I have, they do not fit, and so what I've done is I've created two separate pieces of paper, one which I'm going to stamp and cut the wreath portion, and then the next I will stamp and cut the individual little flowers. And so I'm going to start out with the wreath portion, and so a little bit of it hangs outside of my Misty, but it doesn't affect the stamp quality or getting a good even stamp. I just made sure to put that towards the top of the Misty so that that wouldn't affect how this stamped. If you have the biggest Misty, this would fit really nicely, but I think this one is 6 by 8, I believe. And as I mentioned, the die set is one piece as well, which makes it really convenient to stamp all at once and die cut all at once, so that you are not having little individual pieces that you're taping down or stamping up. So it does make it super convenient. So I'm stamping both of these onto a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I am using some Versafine Black Ink because I will be using some water, and Versafine Black Ink is a pigment ink which is water resistant, and so that is why I chose that ink. So once I have my images stamped up, I'm going to start coloring, and I decided to go ahead and do a little bit of watercoloring with my Distress Oxide spray. So I have my paper towel, my little bowl of water, and I also have just a covered piece of paper with it's one of my stamp packages. And the colors that I'm using for this first set are the crushed olive, salvaged patina, and prize ribbon. I'm going to be doing the flowers in the prize ribbon color, and so I just added a little bit to my mat and added 1 spritz of water, and then I'm going to take my paintbrush and grab the color at its darkest, and then I'm going to rinse my paintbrush off so it's nice and clean, and then go into that dark color and kind of just swipe by it to bring that color out so it lightens up. And so I'm trying to give it a little bit of a watercolor look. I'm not concerned about it being perfect or filling in all of the areas or having the perfect highlights, but just more of giving that watercolor look. And then for the leaves, I went in first with some crushed olive. Originally, I was going to mix the crushed olive and the salvaged patina, and I did not like that color that it created, and so I just went ahead and put the crushed olive down first, and then I added a little bit of the prize ribbon just to add a little bit of a difference in color. And then I will go ahead and set that aside. I'm actually making 2 cards, and so that it will be on the first card, and then this next set of colors will be on the second card. The Distress Oxide sprays that I'm using for this card are the Picked Raspberry, Seedless Preserves, and the Twisted Citron, and the Scattered Straw. And so I'm going to follow the same process as I did when coloring the first card. I'm going to add a little bit of the Picked Raspberry since that is the lighter color, and then I will go in and try and add a little bit of the highlights or the dark areas with that Seedless Preserves, which is a little bit of a darker color, and I'm just going to add that and bring that out. And then for the leaf portion, I am using Scattered Straw because I don't have Antique Linen in the Distress Oxides, and this is the closest. It's a little more yellow than the Antique Ribbon, or Antique Linen, but I think it works. And then I also went in and added a little bit of Twisted Citron, and then once those have dried, I'm going to take that coordinating die set and run that through my die cut machine, and it cuts out just beautifully. This is a really, really beautiful stamp set. And then I took another Pinkfresh Studios stamp set. This one is called Small Butterflies, and it is the same as the other set in which all of the stamps are on one photopolymer sheet. and so it makes it super convenient. This does have a matching die, but I don't have it, so I did go ahead and fussy cut. But I just took some colors, picked raspberry and the Salvaged Patina in the Distress inks, and colored those up. And then I'm going to fussy cut out a few of them that I'm going to use on the cards, and then I will save the remaining for later. But I did splatter those butterflies with a little bit of metallic gold watercolor as well. And then I'm going to grab the Nested Diamonds set from Pinkfresh Studios, and I created a really thin border and then a little bit of a thicker border and then a small piece using these diamond sets. And now I'm going to start assembling the card. So for the first card, I am using the thicker border, and I've just added a little bit of liquid adhesive to the back and place that on the card a little off center and hanging off. And then I'm going to take the smallest little triangle that I created with those dies and add that to the corner. And then I'm going to start adding the flower pieces, and so added a little bit of liquid adhesive to the back, and then I'm just going to place those right along that diamond die cut that is on the card. And in between, I am placing my stamping block on top just to make sure that they adhere and get a good hold with that glue. And then that little small diamond strip that I created, I'm going to put that on top of those floral pieces. I think that looks really super cool, and so I'm going to place those on top, and then the remaining flowers I will tuck in and place around that diamond die cut. And then I'm going to add to this card one pink butterfly. And so for the butterfly, I just went ahead and added glue to the center part of the body so that I could get the wings to stand up, and then added the sentiment that says, "What you do today will improve your tomorrow." And then I used some of the Glacier jewels from Pinkfresh Studios and added a little bit of gold metallic watercolor, and that's going to finish off the first card. For the second card, I am doing some dry embossing with the die, so I have removed the one plate from my Big Shot sandwich. I have a cutting plate down and then my rubber mat, and then I'm going to place the cardstock down on top of the rubber mat, and then I'm going to arrange the whole set of these nested dies randomly just around the card, just to give it a little bit of interest and texture. And so I'm going to go ahead and place all of those. Then I will place my cutting mat or my cutting plate on top of that and run that through my die cut machine. And that's going to leave the impression of those triangles. I think it looks like a little cushion. It's super cool, the dry embossing effect. And then I'm going to take some Distress ink in Salvaged Patina and just add a really light layer of that color on top, just to bring out a little bit of that texture from that dry embossing. And then I created another thin diamond or triangle with the dies, and I'm going to place that onto the center of my cardstock, and then pop up the kind of the flower wreath with a little bit of foam, and then I will place that as well. And then I'm going to add 3 of the butterflies and this little extra sprig of leaves and berries. And again, I want the wings of the butterflies to stand up, and so I'm only adding adhesive to the body portion of the butterfly so that I can pull those wings up. And then I'm using a sentiment from the Pinkfresh Studios stamp and die set called Perfect Sentiment, and I've added a little bit of foam to the area that's on the inside of the wreath, and then around the outside where it's laying on top of the wreath, I added some liquid adhesive. And then I've taken some watered down white ink and I'm splattering that, and I've just covered up the sentiment so that it didn't get that splatter on there. And then to finish it off, I took some HoneyBee stamps Playful pastel gems and added several of those, and that's going to finish off my cards for today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. All of the links for the products that I used today will be listed below, along with the ScrapbookPal social media links in case you want to hop on over and follow us on Facebook. And that is it for me. Thanks so much for joining me, and have a great day.